Okay, we are live once again for another week. And let's get the Amazon stream going. All right, so we are up and running. And I thought I would do a little office hours today and have you be here with me while we set up something. So I got in this the other day. This came in free of charge, by the way, from Panasonic. And I think they saw my review of the new Wise Cam, the outdoor one. And what this one is designed to do is work outdoors insofar as its pickup area, but it attaches to your window inside so that you can get an outdoor camera with unlimited power. So it will record continuously, from what I understand, but it sits inside your home. And it gets around the window reflections because it has a suction cup on it that attaches directly to the window. So that's how it works. So we're going to take it out of the box and we're going to install it on the other side of the room. And before I do, let me bring in the camera that's on the other side of the room to make sure that's going to work. So I want to record some B-roll while we do that. So I'll bring that in real quick. And hopefully it will show up. Yep, there it is. So that's the window we're going to attach it to, at least initially. And then what I'm going to do is move it after I'm done with the stream. We're going to move it to a window upstairs, and I'm going to let it run for a day or two just to see what it picks up. And I'm most curious to see how it deals with screens in the window, so you probably will want to pull those off. But the advantage here is that you can monitor outside with the camera inside. So that might be something of interest. All right, so we have some folks shuffling in, as they would say on one of my favorite Billy Joel songs. So Sat Vision is here, Arif Hassan is here, Tails the Cat is here, B Tabalba is here, DK Savage is here, Ed Horn is here, and Lewis is here and got notified properly this time. That's great. And yeah, so let's take this thing out of the box and see what's inside. And I'll give you my fancy overhead view while we unbox it. I have not looked at this yet, so they obviously emailed me about it, but I haven't seen what is inside. All right. And they sent me a little note here about how it works. All right. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out here. Okay, so just a little note, say hello. They're not paying for me to review this. I don't review things for money because my reviews earn money because people like things that are honest and upfront. So this is the power cord, nice and long actually. So that's good. Nice long power cord here. And then this is the camera component. And it's going to look a little more Spartan than it will look when we get it all set up because there's a backing that goes on the back of this here. So let's peel this off. And I guess the way this works is that you've got remove camera. What is this? Remove. Oh, you can take the camera off if you want, I guess. Remove camera, 2 steps. Lock. Oh, I see, the camera itself. Okay, got it. So we're going to attach it to the window, and then I guess you push this down, and that will move the suction cup into position. And I guess they came up with this idea because a lot of these outdoor cameras don't, is it 2 steps? Okay, so one is pull down the lock, and then pull, oh, I see, so you pull this, and that gets it off. All right, we'll give it a shot. So yeah, we'll see how it works. So, it looks like it's got that same material. So you remember those iPhone stands we looked at the other day? It's got that same material, that super sticky stuff. That's what it is. It's exactly the same material. So if you remember, I'll go get them real quick. Let me go get them for you real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Where did I put them? Oh, they're over here. So we saw these stands that had those little micro suction cups. It's the same material. And what's nice about it is that you can reapply it a lot. So remember these things? I did a review of these. You can check it out. But like you can stick your phone to it, and it stays like on there really, oops, most of the time stays on there really good, right? So, and the longer it stays on, the stickier it gets. So I think this is the same material. So I was wondering, like, where's the suction cup? But it's those micro things there. That's what that is. So that's cool. All right, so let me put this back here. And I think this is going to be compatible only with its own stuff. So we'll see. Timothy McFadden was wondering if it's ONIF compatible. I don't know. I'm imagining that this is going to work only with its own stuff, but it'd be cool if it would support some other things. So there you go. And then it also has an SD card slot on board. So this will kind of work like the Wise Cams do, and that the indoor ones. It'll record while it's just sitting there. So you get continuous recording. And I have an SD card recommendation I'll make in a few minutes on that. So that's the camera part. And then this is the backing for the camera. And it looks like it's magnetic. So this will go on, so you push this down and lock it. And then this part looks like it goes over the back here. Maybe it goes the other way. Let's see. I'm never a good judge of space on these things, so I can't imagine it going that way. I see, there it goes. Okay, yeah. So when you're looking at it in your window, because it's going to sit in your window, it'll look like that to you with a wire coming down. But it's very easy to get into it. This comes right off. And oops, and it's got these little strips on here. And I'm not sure what these are for. We'll have to see what the instructions say. It looks like it's more of that material. And what's nice about this material is that if it does get dirty, you just put some water on it, and it's better. All right, so let's get some plastic out of the way here. Reese Armstrong is here, and Carboxylated is here. Welcome, everybody. And we've got some manuals. So here's the quick start guide. So let's take a look at this, and let's see what we have to do to get all this up and running. Okay, the first thing you need to do is clean the window prior to installation. You want to insert a micro SD card, which are not included. Now I wonder if that's required or not. That I don't know about. I should look that up. Now what's nice about this is that there are no fees. Okay, so then we have to install the app on our phone. And then we launch the app, remove the transparent. Okay, so we have to actually get this set up before we put the camera on the window. Oh, and it's going to have us, to ensure the camera doesn't fall, reattach the suction cup when notification pops up in 3 months. It's a little maintenance task. And you just have to pull it off the window, then reattach it. It looks like there's some transparent film. I didn't see that unless I already pulled it off. I think I pulled it off already. It doesn't look like there's any transparent film there, and it's definitely sticky. All right, so place the camera on the window. Okay, this looks pretty simple. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to grab the app from the App Store, which is called HomeHawk. And I will share my phone screen with you in a minute here. Let me just pull the app up and get I'm guessing there's an account that has to get set up. Reese Armstrong is asking if it supports RTSP. I'm going to say probably not, but that would be cool if it did, wouldn't it? And I'm guessing, I don't know why they don't do more of that, right? Because why not do it? Especially if you're not interested in getting people's money, why not offer that as a solution? But I don't know. I don't know if it is or it isn't. But I will check with them. Let me see if he said anything in his note here. Let's see. It does have person detection, though, so that's good. Monitor the outside discreetly, safe from theft and the elements. We're so happy to share. Okay, cool. They were very excited about this camera. I think it's a good idea. I like the idea. All right, I'm just going to install the software here because I don't think I have an account yet. So let me get that going. And in case you're just tuning in, this is a security camera that attaches to your window. Pretty cool idea. And let me share my screen with you all so you can see what I'm looking at here. So let me go over to my NDI broadcaster. We'll get that going. Add another NDI camera to my repertoire here. NDI, there we go. Okay, so let's walk through the setup real quick. And I'm going to go back to the HomeHawk app. Okay, so let me pull this up. All right, so we're going to add the window camera. And we're going to add a new camera. And I remove the cover. And now we're going to connect the camera to a power source. So let's get that AC adapter undone here. Yeah, so this is the problem. I know a lot of people are asking about Synology's surveillance station. I don't believe this is going to work with it. I will ask them, but it doesn't seem like they're... I didn't see in any of the materials that it supports RTSP. So I'm guessing that it is not going to work with those things. And I think too, like for a lot of consumers, they're looking for simplicity. So that's why these cameras don't typically support those things. But we'll see as we get further into it. I'm just taking this stuff off. So they have like some cable management stuff here. So you could guide the wire on your window, like these little sticky things for guiding the wire. But we're not going to do that. We're not about cable management here, folks. Okay, so let's plug the camera in. All right. Okay, so we've plugged the camera in, and we're going to let it boot up, and we'll see what it wants us to do next here. So I'm going to hit next. Wait 1 minute for your window camera is starting up. The setup is interrupted by an incoming call. Okay, so we got to wait for it to do whatever it's doing. Paul Dakenai is here. Welcome. Yeah, I get a lot of folks from across the pond when I do these around lunchtime here in the U.S. It's always hard to schedule one of these things because about half my audience is in the U.S. and the other half is not. So I found, you know, if I stream around the times that I am typically doing my evaluation work, that it works fine this way. And actually what's interesting is today I'm ahead of the game. I actually shot my wrap-up video yesterday because I had time. So I'm like having a very nice day today because I'm not feeling rushed. All right. So we're just waiting on the software here to find the camera. Still waiting. The minute has passed. Okay, there we go. So select the LED color below that is displayed on your camera. So my LED right now is yellow. So I'm going to go here and select yellow. And then it says verify my network. So we're going to verify. Actually, I'm going to change it to my IoT network real quick. So I keep all of my IoT devices on an isolated network. I'm guessing that's a better way to go. And then I have to change my Wi-Fi. So this is one of those things. Yeah, okay, so I have to go to my, you know what? For now, I'm just going to connect it to my existing one, just to keep this simple. Okay, so now it's going to say, let's connect the camera to Bluetooth. And I got to type my network password in, which is crazy because you'd think if it was already connected, it wouldn't need to do more than that. But let's just do that real quick. Okay, so now it is searching for my camera. And hopefully it finds my camera. And we'll get the rest of the ball rolling here. It is linking. This might take up to 3 minutes. So we will let that do its thing there. So beat the ball. Yeah, this is an indoor camera that's designed to look outside. That's the deal. So it's a neat, I think it's a neat idea because what it gets you, because the big thing with all of these outdoor cameras that we've looked at, so I'm thinking primarily the blink cameras and the other one from Wise that we just looked at. And I like the concept, right? I like the idea of having a very simple notification-only camera. But the problem is that when you put those cameras outside, they have very strict power restrictions, so they can't operate continuously. But this one, since it sticks to the window, can operate continuously because it is inside but shooting the outside, and it's suction cupping to the window. So I'm really curious about what we're going to see when it comes to reflection on the window and how screens look, and those are all the things that I'll be testing after we get the initial setup done here. And I'm just going to make some B-roll here. And it's good. I haven't looked at a Panasonic product in a long time, so it's nice to have something from them, because they're still out there. They make good stuff. So Eric's Variety Channel is here. Hopefully that Alienware is working. By the way, the light is now blue. That must be a good sign that something is moving along here. So Eric Javier says, wouldn't the IR reflect against the glass at night? That is a good question. And my guess is that it probably doesn't have an IR thing, because it says color night vision. So I'm guessing this might be a super, like a super sensitive sensor. It might be noisier, but we'll see, because that's always been the issue. But I'm not seeing any kind of IR illuminator on the front here. But I'm going to test that tonight once the sun goes down. Anthony J., it is powered by the wall because this goes inside. So that's the big thing with this, is that it suction cups to the window. And we're just waiting for it to get all of its linking done here. And then once this is done, I'm going to put it in the window. And I'm also going to put the SD card in. I wanted to start it up without the SD card to see if it was required or not. And I have a really good SD card recommendation for these cameras in a minute too. Okay, setup failure. Couldn't find the camera. For solution, select. Why does this always happen to me? All right, so here's the readout from the app. So it's telling me setup failure. So my light is blue though, not red. So I'm going to tell it it's blue. And now it's going to try again. And let's see if it connects. Maybe it's having a hard time getting on my Wi-Fi. All right, so we'll give that a second to work its way through. So Ed Horn has a Panasonic transistor radio. You know, it's funny, my first Walkman was a Panasonic Walkman. And I remember I was on a my annual trip around Christmas time to my grandparents in Florida, and we went to one of these electronics stores, and they had the Walkman there, but the Panasonic one, this is not connecting. So it's starting me all over from scratch again. All right, so we're gonna, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try to connect it to my IoT network, which is gonna be better in the end run. So let me start over again. Add new camera. Did that. And now we're gonna go back to the start, although the light is blue now, so I don't know. This is the thing that drives me crazy about this stuff, is that it never works. And I don't know if it's just me, but I think a lot of people run into these issues. And we're just going to sit here and wait. I got to tell you, I'm looking at both the live stream from YouTube and from Amazon. So I'm on Amazon Live, by the way. So if you click the link in the description, it'll take you to Amazon Live. The quality of the video looks so much better on Amazon than it does on YouTube. It's crazy. Okay, so let's just wait for this to do its thing again. So we're just waiting here for the app to find the camera. But before the light was yellow, now the light is blue. So I don't know if that means anything. Let's see. What I might do though is force it to connect. So there's a way that you can force the camera to connect. Okay, so now it's asking me the color of the light. So the light is blue. And now it's going to try to connect to my network again. And if that doesn't work, we're going to just connect to it via Wi-Fi and dial it in that way. Let's see what happens. I do like to keep all my stuff bifurcated or whatever off the local network. Because you know what happens is that you forget, some of these things don't update their firmware automatically. So like I have light bulbs that just don't do that. So I have to go back in all the time and check those out. Yeah, it's still giving me an error. Can't find the camera. Okay, so we're going to do, I have to take my, okay, hang on. I have to take this off the network, my phone, to get this to work. So Ash G's been using the Panasonics for many years. Great color pictures, but configuring is a real pain. Yeah, we're finding that out. Let's see. So yeah, I'm gonna go in and connect to the camera's Wi-Fi directly, which is there's an option to do that, and that'll give me the side benefit of being able to connect to my IoT network. So I have a VLAN set up just for IoT devices to keep them separated, and while it's possible you could hack into one of my light bulbs and then do whatever to get into the other side of the network, I think from a script standpoint, it's harder to get at it this way. All right, let's see. Yeah, I think this minute wait thing is like an arbitrary thing. Okay, so if I do other, let's say blue. So I don't want to do it this way now. I think I just want to start over from complete scratch. So what I'm going to do? I'm going to unplug the camera and plug it back in, and hopefully we get a yellow light. Otherwise, I'm like stuck because it's trying to connect to the network. It won't connect. Maybe there's a reset. I could probably just reset it. And there's also a setup button, so maybe that'll push it back. Let's try this again. So now the light is green. And interesting, from a country of origin, this is made in Malaysia. So a lot of times we see these things made in China, but this is Malaysia. All right, so the light is green, and I hope it turns yellow. If it doesn't, I'm going to hold down the setup button, and maybe that'll push us back to the other thing here. Now, while you're waiting, and while I'm waiting, let me talk to you about the SD cards that I like to put in these security cameras. Oh, good, it's yellow. Now it's flashing green and yellow, whatever that means. Let me go back into my Amazon thing here. So what I like to use, so Recipe Bob has switched over. Eric also switched over. He says it sounds better and it looks better. And I'm sending the exact same feed to both places, just so you know. And Recipe Bob says, I can't remember what it was called, but I have a Panasonic device in a box somewhere that would play internet radio and stream Rhapsody. Oh, cool. Okay, so now it's blue. So I think I want to hit the setup button here because I have to get this thing to, I need this light to be yellow again. So let's see what happens here. Now it's blinking green. And let's see where we go. Yeah, this is always the fail point for consumers is the setup thing, because maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10 it works fine for everybody, but if it's going to fail, it will fail on my live stream. So now I've got a blinking green light. So let's see what that means. I'm going to go back to the camera app here, window camera, add new camera, next, next. And again, it makes you just wait this minute, even though it's not always necessary to wait the minute. And I can see that being frustrating if you're where I'm at, which is like, I know the camera's back on. I don't need to wait the minute, but it's going to make me wait the minute. All right, so let that... let this thing process here. So Eric says in the Amazon chat that he bought a camera at the auto parts store and the setup was horrible. Yeah, these things, it varies. And it's hard. I mean, I get the challenge here is that you're trying to find a way to easily pass the information of your wireless setup over to the camera. And I would bet you on Android it's probably easier, because I think Android will pass the Wi-Fi info over. I don't think iOS does. Might be some security thing. All right, so now it's asking me for the color of the light, and right now I'm blinking green, so I'm going to say other, and I've got none of these, none of those options. All right, so let me do a reset and see if that might get us back to the start, and we'll try this again. And what's interesting too, oh, wait, now it's red. Okay, wait, so now it's a red, now it's red, now it's blue. I got close to it with the reset thing, and it's like all over the place. But I don't want it to be blue, I want it to be yellow. So let me hit the reset here and see if that, what that does. Maybe you have to hold down reset and put the power in, maybe. Let's try that. So I'm going to put it halfway in here. I'm trying not to put it down on the table so it doesn't stick to the table. Reset, and then we'll plug that in. Yeah, so we're not going to have high marks here on the setup process. Okay, so now we're yellow again, yellow and green, but we want it to be all yellow. I'm actually going to leave my phone on this screen so I don't have to wait the minute again, because it just like arbitrarily waits a minute. It doesn't even bother to check. It just says, okay, it's good. So now we're yellow again. So now I'm going to say yellow, and I'm going to change the Wi-Fi. So now what I have to do is connect to the camera's Wi-Fi, which means that my phone's going to get knocked off the network here temporarily while I do that, because I transmit to my video system over Wi-Fi. So we're going to connect, I think. Let's see what it wants me to do. Oops, shoot, I just lost it. I just lost it. Oh, come on. Great, I gotta wait a minute again. Yeah, this is like really, this is not a good experience. We're gonna mark this part down. This can be fixed. Oh, shoot, I just lost my. This can be fixed. It's not the end of the world, but it's still a pain. Okay, so I'm gonna see what else they have here. Oh, double-sided tape cannot be reused once removed. Okay, so there's some double-sided tape that goes on here as well. Oh, this is a long-term attachment. So they have a long-term attachment option and then the short-term attachment. So we're going to do the short-term one. That means you got to check it every 3 months so it doesn't fall off. And then the long-term, there was those 2 strips of tape that we took off before. So if you want to leave it there for a long period of time, then you use the tape. But the tape can only be used one time, so you have to get your own tape after that. All right, so now we're back to where we were before. So I'm going to say yellow. I'm going to say change Wi-Fi. Go to your Wi-Fi setting on your mobile device. And oh, geez. Okay, so this is not going to work, because what it's asking me to do now is to go and change to the other network and then reconnect, but it's not connecting. So I don't know. I'm not sure what it wants me to do here. So I'm going to connect to the other network just for the heck of it. And let's see what happens. And once again, the curse of the live stream has hit our jolly network here. And I forgot my IoT password here. Let's see. I may have to call them and tell them that this thing ain't working. So Simon Rolfe is saying, is this a 2.4 only? It likely is, although I use the same SSID for both. And partly, I am doing this as a test. Now I do have a 2 gigahertz only network, which I'm going to try in a few minutes and see if that could be the issue. So I'm going to troubleshoot this kind of one notch at a time, but I have a feeling it's not connecting properly here. So let's go through. I'm going to go through here and just try to figure out what's going on. The first thing I have to do, though, is remember what my IoT password was, which I forgot, which I should know in my head, right? But I keep forgetting. So I've got to go dig into my Unify settings here. And okay, it's the one thing that I didn't try out of the 3 that I know I had. Okay, so we're going to go back to my Wi-Fi, and we're going to connect to the IoT next and see if this will work better. And we're going to have to wait that minute again. So let's see what happens. I'll move the phone closer to the device here too. Okay, so now we're on my IoT network. And my IoT network is both, both 5 and 2. Although I have 2 gigahertz devices working fine on the IoT. So let's see what happens here. So we're going to add the window camera again, add new camera, remove cover, plug in, wait the minute. I wish there was a way to get past this wait the minute thing, because I know it's on. Like they should say, if your camera is blinking, click here, right, to get through that. So yeah, this is not good so far. But if this doesn't work, what we're going to try next is I'm going to connect it directly to the 2 gigahertz network that I have set up specifically for 2 gigahertz devices. But this is both, so the IoT and the other one. Actually, I take that back. You know what? That is the problem. So here's the problem. That network I was trying to connect to before was only 5 gigahertz. I forgot that I didn't have a 2 gigahertz option on that one. So Simon gets the medal for correctly troubleshooting this. And now what's going to happen, this will work because IoT has both a 5 and a 2. But I guess most people's routers are doing this automatically, so that's probably what it is. Okay, so now we're on IoT, which is where I wanted it to be in the first place. We're going to go Bluetooth. And I've got to type in the password for the IoT network. All right, so now we're going back to the searching here. So let's see if it finds it this time. Flood of Sins is here. And let's see what happens. I think we're in better shape now. Yeah, this is a common problem, the 2.4 versus the 5. I will definitely give you that. But what's odd is that it doesn't, I don't think it says it anywhere. I'm looking on the manual here. It's not advising against it. And I guess it's one of those trade-offs as to whether or not you're too complicated in your explanations or not. So that could be what's going on. All right, so now the light is blinking green, as you can see. Now it's blue. Now we got there before, right? The light went blue before. And there we go. Okay, press button. Press and hold the setup button on the camera until the LED light turns green. All right, so 1 1000, 2 1000. Okay, so now it's green. All right. Okay, so now I need to create a camera login password. All right, so I'm going to type that in real quick. And we're going to call this, I'm just going to call it side. It's asking me for what I should call it, so we're going to call it side window. I'm going to put this on the side of my house, and the device will be iPhone. Okay, congrats. It's been added. Okay, tip for removal, okay, which we saw earlier. So we're making progress, folks. Okay, message. All right, it's telling me to go and buy the camera that we just got. Okay, this is an icon for mode. Okay, so I don't, okay, all right. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So we have a couple different modes. And I'm curious now if I can, let me reconnect to my other network because I want to see if this is internet accessible. Bear with me for 1 second here. All right, so we'll get into the recording stuff in a second here too. So let's see if we can get this back on my other network real quick. Because I'm curious now if you can access this when you're not at home, which I would assume you could. And what's nice about having a separate IoT network is that I can very easily jump around to that stuff. Yeah, so I would say most people will not encounter what we just went through, but it would be nice to know that ahead of time, that it doesn't support the 2.4 gigahertz networks, because a lot of these devices will tell you that it doesn't. All right, so let's take a look and see. Okay, so we are back on here. Let me rebroadcast the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. And I'll pull that up for you all in 1 second here. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so let's go and look at the, all right, it's detecting motion, which is good. It means it's getting something. Okay. Yeah, so it's doing a remote connection, which is fine because we're on a different network here. And let's take a look at the, pardon the mess, my room is at this, I mean, I'm embarrassed to show you this, so let's just scroll over here. Yes, it looks like, a little noisy on the image. Not any different than what we typically see, I would say, on some of these devices. So I'll connect to it manually later and see how that works. So not a great image. I mean, it's super compressed. I'm not getting the amount of the bit rate here, but you can see all those, like all of the artifacts there are not your stream. It is just what's coming out of the camera. So the quality is not great. Hi. But not bad. Oops. I mean, oops. Oh, I just hit a bunch of buttons here. Hang on a second. But I would say that it's probably on par with the other cameras that this might be competing with. All right, so let's see what our options are here for the camera. I think what I'll do is I'll mount it next and we'll start seeing how that works. And we'll look at all the different camera settings. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to unplug it real quick and then plug it back in the other spot because I want to see how this attaches to the window. So let's take a look. And someone's asking about RTSP. I'm going to look at settings here. Camera settings. It does support the Amazon A word. System, maintenance, time adjustment, system info. I'm going to say I don't see any RTSP settings here in the, let me start the broadcasting unit. Stop broadcasting when I drop my phone. Wait for this to come back up. All right, there we go. Okay, so what do we see? I see video, and it looks like the frame rate max is 30, HD, HDR is enabled. Oh, okay, here's, yeah, brightness, so that's just the normal brightness there. Bit rate level icon, that might be useful to see. Signal strength, let's make sure we got a good signal. Looks like it's good. Recording settings. Now we don't have the SD card in, which I'm going to put in right now. So let's do that. I think I'm going to unplug the camera though, and then we'll set it back up on the other side of the room. But yeah, I'm not seeing any options here for RTSP. But I'll ask them about that before we do the full review. And it looks like it works with the Amazon A word and the G word, Google. And what's nice about that is I would expect that this would work. So, when you ask Amazon for an image on your Echo Show or on your tablet, it shows you what it sees. So my guess would be that this will do that. So let's unplug this real quick. And what I'm going to do is put the SD card. Now, if you're watching on Amazon, I'm going to give you some recommendations on SD cards for these things because when you are looking for SD cards for security cameras, you definitely want to get a card that will last a nice long time because they're going to be constantly written to. Let me get it in front of my camera here. So the ones that I would look for, and it's not just SanDisk, there's other brands out there, Samsung has them too. Check out these high endurance cards. They don't cost all that much more, but what they do is they over provision them so there's more. So even though it's 128 gigs, it has much more capacity that is swapped in as the cells wear down. So it'll last longer. Because what happens is with these cameras is you put them in the window or you set them up somewhere, and you're constantly writing to these cards. And I guess, the larger the card, the longer it takes to cycle through the full amount of storage. But if you have a higher capacity card, that would be the way to go. Professional commenter says, are surveillance SD cards a thing? Yeah, I think that the high capacity cards here are the ones that are kind of used for that. A lot of them are used in, in dashboard camera uses as well, because that's another similar usage for that. So that's where you run into that. Okay, so now it's stored here. And I have a feeling that this doesn't store anything in the cloud, because there's no cloud service that goes with it. I didn't have to create an account. So when I set this up, there was no account to set up. It just connected to the camera. So there is a shop on Panasonic's website, but I don't think there's any cloud settings on this, which actually I'm not complaining about, because I think that that's not a bad idea, right? So let's set this up and see what it does. And we'll go from there. Travis Rudd says the Eufy doesn't store anything on the cloud either. It uses its own encrypted chip. They have a home base that extends storage when you plug it into your LAN. I'm glad to see more stuff not requiring cloud accounts. Because one of the things that gets me is that you spend a lot of money on one of these things, and this is not one of those products. You spend a lot of money on a camera or whatever, and then the device doesn't work without paying more money down the road. That's something that bugs me. All right, so what I'm going to do now is walk over to that window. So I'm not going to see your chats for a minute. And we're going to put this on the window right here and see how it works. And I'm going to follow all the directions. I'm going to start recording real quick just because I'm going to use this for B-roll a little bit later. And you might hear my air handler going over there. And I'm just going to get some stuff here for the window, clean the window off a little bit. So we have a nice clean window. Just wipe it down so it's nice and clear for us here, because this window is definitely dirty. And I was wondering how small the camera would be and whether or not it would fit into this space here, but I am pretty sure it's going to fit just fine, because it's not all that big. I'm just going to flip the lens around here to make sure I'm getting the right image in here. All right, so that should be nice and dry there. Okay, so now there are two parts to this. So we're going to be putting this on the window, getting it into the spot that we want it in. And then what we have to do is flick this lock up. And let me just get this camera positioned. Maybe I'll put it right here, because that seems to be more focused. Let's see. Hang on a second, folks. We're doing B-roll for the main video here. So I want to get the camera kind of dialed in to the right spot. And I'm doing this like one-handed here. Let's get this done here. Whoop. Perfect. Okay, let's get a little bit over like there and just zoom in a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to position it right here. All right, and now I'm going to flick this up and lock it in. It feels like it's on there pretty good. And the other test will be how long will this stay up for, right? That's the other question. All right, oops. That was not elegant, was it? Okay. And I'm going to just plug it in. And this is not ideal, given the fact that it is like being stretched across the doorway right now. So where I'm going to set it up more permanently will be in a different spot. All right, so it's going on. Cool. All right. Now, it took longer to set up this camera position than it did anything else. So yeah, so the suction it's using is that micro suction material that we saw on those iPhone holders the other day. And we're going to let that thing boot back up again. And cool, let me stop the recording. And I'm just going to take a look at my handiwork real quick and make sure that that shot looked good while we're waiting for that thing to boot up. And it's cool, you can see the light through the case, so you know what the status of the camera is. And I just realized that I didn't clean the part of the window where I mounted it. So the video quality may not be great here initially, but let's see. Quick, just because I'm going to, let's see, hang on a second. Let's get this thing in position here. It was a little blurry there, wasn't it? Okay, so there it goes, that's better. Yeah, I think it looks okay. That'll work. All right, so now the light is red. Why is the light red? The light's not supposed to be red. I think it's supposed to be some other color. Maybe it's first connecting here. Let's take a look. Oh, the red might mean that it's recording, right? That's probably what it means. So if I go back to the app, it's got the red recording light on there. Notes. Remote connection initiate. Okay, that's what we saw before. All right, so this is going through some internet relay. And then it's giving me a timeline. Well, it's got a good field of view on it, doesn't it? And there's no sound on this. So I think what I'll do next is maybe test out the sensors on there. We can set detection areas on here too. That's cool. So right now I don't think I'm going to set those because I'm going to move it in a little bit. But that looks pretty good. Motion sensitivity normal. Let's see. Video recording settings, detection, login settings. What's the login settings do? Automatic login. Remotely access your camera. Yeah, so this doesn't require any account with them, which is good. You can also turn off that status LED. And signal's a little bit weaker there in that part of the room, but it's okay otherwise. Okay. All right, there we go. So, so some questions here about local, like why local only storage? Why is that better? Well, you know what I think is, yeah, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Somebody breaks into the house and steals the camera, you lose the footage. At the same time, somebody could steal the camera outside, right? Or break in and steal your DVR. So that's one of those things. And I think there's a segment of the market that just, you know, is looking for simplicity, and they want something that will just work. And they don't want to go through cloud services and everything else, and they just want a little notification camera, because the notification will still get pushed. And actually, that's the next thing we're going to test here. Let's see what we get when we set off the cameras. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to zoom out my camera here a little bit, and I'm going to go outside and try to trigger it and see what we get. So let's make sure I got my okay, we're on there. Good. Okay, so I'm going to go run outside real quick and just see if we can trigger the camera here. I'm just going to stop this real quick. Notification settings. And I'm just looking to see, okay, motion sensitivity is normal. Supposedly it can detect people in addition to the other stuff. So let me go open the door up here. And I'm going to go outside. It's like a dead frog out here. That's disgusting. All right, let me walk over here. And let's see if it gets me. So I haven't seen a notification pushed over to my phone just yet. Okay, it did detect something. Okay, so I didn't get a push notification, but I may have to enable those. But let's take a look and see what it found and what it did. So it said a person detection at 1:19, which is just now. And I'm guessing we triggered some motion when we opened the window, opened the door. So let's take a look at the app here. Okay, so we're going to go over back to my phone, and we'll start broadcasting. Yeah, and this is like the first part of my, so we have just literally just set it up, put it in the window, see what happens, right? The next step will be an overnight. So we're going to set this up in my one of the windows of the house, and I'm going to sneak around my house at night and see what it finds. Okay, so now let me show you what it gives you. So it has on the event log here for August 24th. Oh, this is cool. So here's the person detection. And it's going to jump right to that spot, it looks like. So it's giving us 5 minutes of a window here. All right, so it's playing right now. It's very still outside, isn't it? All right, let's see what we get here. So Ed Shin said it blinked red when I passed in front of it, so it must have presented some local notification here. All right, so it's giving me like a 5-minute clip. Let's go to rapid playback. And I'm waiting for it to find me on that. Let's go back here real quick. So let's go to event log, person detected 119. So it looks like you can't jump to, yeah, see, it tells you that it found something at that time, but you can't jump right to that. So I guess you have to go to the recording list. And if I select person here to kind of filter it, so I'm just trying to figure out exactly. So right, so it looks like it's taking this block as a 5-minute block. So I have to go to the 119 section of that, although it's not letting me scrub over. There it goes. So can I fast forward again? So I want to go to 119. All right, so it should happen within like this little spot here. Now let's see what happens. So Reese Armstrong says I should take a look at Home Assistant. Is that part of the Google thing? Okay, so here comes the door opening. There I am. So it must have grabbed me in that spot there, right? You can see it's got the blue thing around me. And because you get continuous recording, you'll have the whole roundup. Now what this doesn't do, yes, I'm wearing socks outside. What this doesn't do is that it doesn't record any sound. So you're not going to get any audio like you would with an outdoor camera that would have it. So that's what's going on there. Okay. All right, so next thing to check out, let me connect. I'm just trying to think about what I want to do next here. I think I'm going to connect my laptop here to the IoT network and see if there's anything that I can connect to on the camera. I don't think I have an RTSP client that I could connect at the ready here. I think I could probably install Surveillance Station, but I'm not going to have that set up right now. So let me go back to I'm just going to go back to the device settings here and get the IP address. I'm just curious if I can just hit the IP of it and log into it. So IP settings. So you can do some direct connections here. Bear with me for 1 second. I found this before, now I can't find it again. System info, there we go. So it's 192.168. Yeah, I'm curious what that SD card looks like, because Eric B is wondering if the video quality would be different on the SD card versus streaming. And it's entirely possible that it might record at a better clip. So we'll definitely look at that on the review. All right, so 4.49 is the IP address, and there's no little website on there. What's the typical port number for RTSP? I think it is 554. So let's see if I can hit that. If I can hit that with something. Oh, I forgot they got rid of this stupid thing. 4.49554. Yeah, it does not appear to be anything running on port 554. So I don't think we're going to have any way to do more with this than that. But I had some suggestions here from some other folks. Yeah, so I don't think this works. I think this works with Google. So I guess Reese Armstrong I'm just reading some of your comments here. Home Assistant plus WireGuard. But do these things, I don't think this is going to connect with those, right? Because it's, it looks like it's connecting, you know, I think there's compatibility with the A word. And then, all right, so here's the Amazon setup thing here. If you use third-party services such as voice assistant services to work with Panasonic products and ask those third-party services to do something, those third parties may record your interactions with their services. Furthermore, those third parties may also use the interactions to assist you and improve their services, blah, 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 blah. If I accept this, then I'm guessing we'll have to install, okay, so this is where you need to create the Panasonic account so that it can link back through that way. Google Home, same thing. So we're going to have to set that up a little later. So what I want to do is get this thing like in the right spot in the house, and then I'll do some more with it. And you know, we can see if it works with the Android TVs and stuff too. So a lot of discussion about, you know, different types of security systems. And I think what you got to think about here, there's, you know, there used to be, when you thought about security cameras, there was a single solution, which was the in-home hardwired connection, right? Get those DVRs set up. My father's got a bunch of those at his place, super fancy. The video never leaves your house. It is recorded locally, all good. And then what happened is that people didn't want to go through that expense of getting the electrician or the security guy to come in, hook up all those expensive cameras, go through all that. So we started seeing, you know, things like the Nest Cam and the Ring doorbell, and you know, like it or not, there is a big market for the Ring doorbell, for the Nest Cams and all the other subscription services that are out there. But we're seeing now around this alternatives. So even though they're now part of Amazon, which is owned by Ring, that's why I like the Blink cameras, because they still are, affordable, no monthly fee, easy to set up, no wiring. The trade-off is that you're not getting a 24/7 recording camera and Amazon storing all your data. Wise, similar scenario, super cheap camera, no subscription, but there's cloud storage and you have to deal with that security or privacy trade-off. This is kind of slotting into that realm, but it's a little different because by default, it doesn't have any cloud component to it. It's simple, more or less, based on our initial setup. It's pretty simple to set up. The advantage with this over the WiseCam or over the Blink camera is that you can do, I'm talking about the outdoor Wise camera, you can do 24/7 recording onto the SD card, which mine is currently doing at the moment. So you have that as an option. So, you know, it's one of those things, right? It's what are you comfortable with, and what do you want or need. So if you're concerned about the fact that there's a relay somewhere, which this is a relaying, let's not kid ourselves, right? So this is, in order for my phone here to connect to the camera, I have to relay through Panasonic because there's no direct linkage. I can't just come in off the street and through my NAT to get into it. However, there is a port forwarding option. So I believe it might be possible to do a direct connection without having to relay through them. But you're not storing any stuff in the cloud with these folks. So that's a different feature. I think it's different. They're not requiring a relationship. I'm guessing that they're going to have to keep some server functional for a while and kind of go from there. So it looks like, I'm just looking through the way this is working. It appears as though that this is going to give you a 5-minute, like these little 5-minute clips that run continuously. And if I select rapid playback, I guess it just jumps through it quicker. So I have it on rapid playback right now. Yeah, I see. So it's just kind of scrubbing through, and I guess if it finds an event, then it will show you that. Let's see if we get, because we get to that block where I appear. Yep, so there's that event. So it captured that, and then you can go back to normal. But it does capture, it's recording at 30 frames per second. So if I were to slow it down, I would just get a continuous playback. So it looks like you're going to get these things on here every 5 minutes. And you can delete, it looks like, right in here. And then if I want to filter it, I could say, give me motion and person. I could protect a clip. So how would I protect it? I guess I can hit the little, there's a little lock icon at the bottom there, so you could protect the clip so it doesn't erase. And I'm assuming this will recycle like a lot of other cameras do, which is that it fills up the card and then it deletes the oldest clips as it goes back up. Let's see. How close does the window have to be from the front door? So I think the way this is designed to work, because it suction cups to the window and therefore it will prevent any reflection, you'd probably want to put it on the front door, and it has to be inside. It's not waterproof. Oh, question about RTSP. So RTSP is an open standard for these cameras. So a great example would be that if you were to buy a Synology or a QNAP network attached storage device, they have a security camera application that will connect to any camera so long as it supports RTSP. And there are thousands of them out there that support it. So you could set this DVR up and then buy a bunch of different cheap cameras from a bunch of different manufacturers. Amcrest was one we've looked at in the past. And you can just connect them to your DVR and off you go. So one of the reasons that people are interested in that for one of these types of cameras, because it is kind of a unique, novel approach to getting an outdoor camera mounted inside. It sticks to the window. That's kind of neat. And it would have been cool if it supported that, because then you could shoot that into your DVR. I'm going to ask them about it, because that doesn't seem like it would be a hard thing for them to implement. I mean, if Wise could do it on their cameras, they should be able to do that. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Maybe we'll try I'll do the A-word thing for the review. But no, it seems to work. That's pretty cool. So in case you missed what we just did, we set up the camera here, and it just sticks to the window. And if you missed the sticking part, I'll replay it here
right?
for you.
That's the other question.
So I'll just zoom back here. So let's go right to the spot There. So what this does is it has a little suction material on the front of it, and it sticks to your window. And it uses this micro suction material that we saw on a pair of stands the other day for our phones and stuff. And that stuff sticks like amazingly good. And what they want you to do is pull it off the window like every 3 months just to reattach it and clean the thing on there. Because I'm guessing temperature changes and that sort of thing will have an impact. But yeah, it just sticks there. And then once it's stuck, you can connect up, you connect it to your Wi-Fi like you do everything, and you have a camera. It doesn't do any cloud storage though, so the cloud storage is essentially inside of the device. And I got to set my notifications up because I haven't been getting any notifications. And then you get the app here, and you can tap on it here and watch what's going on. So here you go. And this is what my camera is seeing right now. And there's no batteries to change because it's constantly connected. And it's good. It's not picking up those trees moving or anything as motion, so that's good. And then I could hit the record button here. Oh, I guess that's not going to change the mode. Okay, so because continuous is activated, then it's just continuously recording anyhow. And then what's this one do? Okay, so that's the box. We'll leave that on. All right, and what is that? That's our bit rate. Oh, so that's just a little indicator as to what the bit rate is. And then this thing here. What would mode change be? Yeah, I'll leave it on normal and see what happens. It looks like it picked me up just fine. I like that it does the person check, the person identifier. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm going to keep working on this because I have to bring it upstairs and do some other stuff with it, but it looks pretty cool. What do you think? I think it's kind of neat. And again, I like this notion of not having, not having the cloud is not always a bad thing. It might be for some people who want the cloud, then there's other things out there that might work. And I guess the only other question would be that this gets tied to a single phone then. I need to email them some questions. So I guess the other question would be, if you had more than one phone, how does that work? I have to give them credit too. Like, the manual is pretty good. I should have looked at this first. But you get a pretty good manual here. And I'm probably missing a whole bunch of Amazon chats here, so let me jump back to the... to Eric's point, we're going to check in the full review. I'll take a look at what the video files look like. And we'll have a good collection of them by the time we shoot the review later this week. It's one of those things where, like, normally I could totally review the product now, at least give people a good sense as to how it works, but we need to let it sit and just capture stuff, because right now it's almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, so it's just going to get really good daytime pictures. But the night vision is what I'm really curious about. So we'll see what that looks like. And I'm going to put it on a window upstairs later that has a screen on it, and my guess would be that we'll have to take the screen off. And my wife's going to give us a hard time about that. All right, so I need to ask them about RTSP. I'm just looking to see if there's an index in this. There is not. So we need to know about RTSP and multiple phones. And then what I need to do later is set it up with the Amazon A word. Let me check and see, though, if there is any mention of it on the internet. So we'll look at HomeHawk window RTSP. Let's see if Google tells us anything. Anyone using HomeHawk? Okay, so there's a chat about that. Let's see, I'm just looking through here. I got one other thing I want to check, and then, Okay, so there is a page from Canada. It's a YouTube video, actually. That's not going to help us. See if I can find anything on this real quick. I'm guessing that it's probably not going to do that, but you never know. All right, so I think I'm still on my IoT network. Let me try to connect up with VLC and see if there's a way we could coax this thing into, so open network. All right, let's see if we can trick this thing here. So we're going to go. Just going to go back to the camera real quick. Event log. Let's see. Side window. Bear with me for one more minute, folks. It'd be super cool if it had this feature. Again, I highly doubt it, but you never know. Let's see, RT. Okay, so 192.168.4.49. I'm still connected to the network here on this one. Okay. All right, let's try this on VLC real quick. Yeah, it's not getting connected. Nothing there. And we can try one other thing here. Oh, macOS 10 has a port scanner, doesn't it? Let's see. I should share my screen with you. All right, we're going to try to port scan this thing real quick. We're going to get real super techie, okay? And then I'm going to give up. Network utility. I forgot that they have a little port scanner in here. Did you know that the Mac has a port scanner? Well, now you do. All right, let me go back to the live dashboard here. Okay. So now we're going to go, and let me just pull up this other, we're going to add another NDI feed to our mix today. And we're going to go to my MacBook, display 1, and it's not, oh, you know why? Because I am on the wrong, this is the conundrum I'm in. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you what happens after I run this. Let's see if I can bring the screen over here a little bit. This might work. I don't have the HDMI hooked up to my other thing at the moment. Okay, so we're going to type in the address for this thing. Let me close this out, and I'll close this out, and I'm going to go back to that in a second. Okay, so the IP, let's go back to the settings. I forgot the IP address again. Okay, it's 4.49, 192.168.4.49. All right, so let's scan its ports. And let's see what we get. All right, it is scanning. I'm just going to have it scan everything. So we'll see what it finds. I doubt it's going to find anything, but you never know. Because I did try to connect RTSP up with it, and that didn't seem to work. Yeah, and it's going to take a while. There's a lot of ports to check. Let's just ping it and see if it's even showing up. I just want to make sure I'm finding it on the network. Yeah, so it is pinging, but it looks like it's probably locked down pretty good. This is scanning like every port, so I'd be surprised if it finds anything open. I mean, it's got to have something open for the app to connect through to it, right? So let's see what we get here. Yeah, well, I think it's just, so Jared says it seems odd that VLC can't pick it up. Yeah, I think it's just locked down. Like it works with their app. I'm guessing there's some authentication going on that might be proprietary. But you think it would be listening on something. So let's see what it comes up with. I think there's, what, like 65,000 different ports that it can be checking, so I don't know how long this takes. But I think if we found, if there was an RTSP open there, we would have found it already. But I'll ask them. I think that would be a great feature for this camera. You know, because if they're, you know, if you think about it from the business standpoint, let's look at the basics of you know, the basics of the economics here. So there's no subscription. There's not even an option for a cloud or a subscription. It just doesn't exist. They don't give you the SD card. So their margin is baked into the hardware cost, which is why this is $149, and the Wyze cameras are less than that, and the Blink cameras are less than that. So the margin's built into the hardware cost. So it would not cost them anything, really. In fact, it would add value if this did have that feature, because then, you know, it might result in more sales, because now people with just a DVR would be I could see this being really attractive to people that want to add this to their security DVR, right? So that could be useful. And I think, to answer Aaron Johnson's question, I think they have a whole line of these cameras. So this is like the window unit, and then they've got ones that are more traditional looking. But I think if we had an open port, we would have found it by now. I totally forgot that this tool exists. This is a built-in Mac OS X tool. It's called Network Utility. You have netstat, ping, just a DNS lookup, traceroute, whois, finger. It even has a finger client. Granted, you can use the finger client on terminal. Actually, most of these things are all on the terminal too, I guess. But this is just a graphical tool for all those things. Nicholas M. asked a very good question. Have I tested any other window cams? No, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the only one out there. I've never seen one that sticks to the window before. So this is a whole new ball game here. But you can imagine that if, this will probably spur imitators. This is a great idea. Because what it does is that because it's sticking to the window, you're not going to get any reflections, because the camera is not getting any light in from the side. It is stuck to the window, which is why you got to clean the window before you put it up. So Nicholas M. says, it's interesting, I can monitor the front door without having a door cam or doorbell. Exactly. So if your window is thin enough, then you can do that. I think I should measure it, because that's what it looks like right now, just sitting out my window there. And I'm pretty sure, let me grab my tape measure, that it should fit in most circumstances, because this is like one of those typical windows that you have on your door. And it looks like from end to end here, it is pretty much about 5 inches. Yeah, it's just slightly over 5 inches across. So, and this window is about 7 inches across, because I have these plastic things in between. So if you got just over 5 inches of window there, you could totally put that right there. It just needs to be plugged into the wall. That's the only thing. The power cord's pretty long. You could probably connect it somehow to your electrical. But that's it. I should probably make a note of that, 5 inches. Yeah, so that's it. So the port scan is done. It didn't find anything. So I think no RTSP in its current iteration, but it might come back and add later. We've seen that. I mean, Wise added it to their camera with a separate firmware after the fact, so it's possible. So yeah, good stuff. All right, everybody. Well, I am going to keep working on this because I got to go bring it upstairs. I got to take care of some other stuff. Got to make a few phone calls. I got some editing to do. I've got to do a little bit of consulting work today, so I got to shoot a video for that. So my day is cranking away. The weekly wrap-up tonight is going to be about Windows 95 because today, if you didn't know, is the 25th anniversary of the release of Windows 95. So we're going to boot it up on the Mister. That's going to be kind of fun. So we'll be doing that. And yeah, so that's the scoop. Yes, good question there too. So, so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to set this thing up on my door or on my window outside or inside, pointing outside, and I'm going to see how it looks. I'm curious about what impact a screen will have. I'm guessing it's not going to be a good impact, so you're probably going to want to put these. You're probably going to not want to have these on your window like that. So we'll have to check it out. Beats Balba, is there a new 8-bit DOE controller, the SN30 Pro for the Xbox? I have not seen that. So is it the same as the other one? It just works with the Xbox now? It looks the same, huh, for Xbox? I haven't been to my mailbox lately, so maybe it's waiting for me there. I'm not sure. So I used to go down. I had this routine. That's a pretty cool looking controller. I used to have this routine where I would go to my I would go down to my mailbox and then check and go to get some coffee and all this other stuff, and now I don't leave the house. So that's life in the bubble. All right. But yeah, so to answer the question before, I'm going to put it up on my window over there, and I'm going to walk around the house tonight and see if it picks me up. Nicholas M. said, I saw the Razer Kishi at CES. Yeah, I was hoping to get one in, but I don't have one. So I would like to try that one out. I'm always looking for game controller reviews. So I'll have to see what that looks like. Jeremy Garrow says, it looks like this window cam can connect to multiple access points. Really? Because it only gave me the option to connect to one. So I'm just looking to see if there's anything else here on the box. Yeah, I got a little bit more to do on this one. So we'll have to play around a little bit more with it. All right, everybody, I'm going to take off for now, but I will be back again later. Thank you all for tuning in. It's always fun to kind of mess around with stuff live because you're always very helpful. So I appreciate that. And stay tuned. We're going to have a review of this that will be much shorter than the last hour and 23 minutes have been. And we'll have more sample footage. I'll pull some footage off the card. We'll do all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned. More to come. But I thought you all might find this interesting because it's a very novel concept. And I think that's a cool thing. Stick it to your window, right? So we'll see how long it sticks. Oh, Jeremy says, if you register your mobile device to each access point, you can access any of your systems conveniently from the same mobile device or switch between systems as desired. So I wonder if there is a separate or some other unit that you can pair this with. That might be what they want you to get. I will have to ask them that question too. Yeah, okay, we'll figure it out. Cool beans, everybody. Have a good afternoon. I'm going to go have my afternoon coffee and go to part 2 of my day. Talk to you in a little bit. Look for the wrap-up tonight. It'll be posted around 6:45 p.m. And again, we'll be playing around with Windows 95, and I'll be talking about the launch day as I remember it. So good stuff. I will talk to you all soon. Have a good evening or afternoon.